All right, so welcome back to another episode of SDGS, same goals, different struggles. And today I have a very special guest. Um, I don't really know how to introduce this man. He's been a very special part of my life since I was about 16. Helped me develop as not only as a boxer, but as also as a man. He's taught me a lot in this game. And I also want to give credit as a just a father figure, not only as a father figure, as a trainer, as a man, wife. He is one credible person. He's also trained with Evander Holyfield, trained Mike Tyson. Also, one of my favorite fighters, he has trained Pernell Whitaker. I want to introduce no other than Mr. Robert Lewis. How you doing, Coach?
I'm good, man. How you doing, AJ? My son.
I am,
You good?
I am blessed today, man. So I got you up on here today, man, and I know you wanted to, speak your piece about, I guess, the boxing and how just the science behind it, the mental. I'm gonna just let you go ahead and get into whatever you like to speak about today.
Uh, Mainly about just the way how the fighters are. Fighters are being ain't really being teaching. Ain't they not really that many teachers out there now? It's mainly a lot of coaches, and mainly everybody follow each other, especially with the speed and strength. But I figured they would be catching on by now, and they're getting better. But if you judge the fighters back in the past compared to now, most of the fighters back in the past had tremendous power. These fighters don't have it today, and they should. They should be much more smarter than they are, but they not when it comes to the science behind speed and strength.
Let me
I
ask you
mean,
something.
yes, sir.
Um, what do you feel like with all the technology, all the resources, and all the networking that we have today? What do you feel like is the difference in why fighters are not stronger today than they were back in the day?
Well, back in the day, I mean, I dealt with he had retired, but I dealt with body snatching, Mike McCallum, and the
He
way
was a
they train.
160 was he a middleweight?
Yeah, yeah, and then he went to I think 55 or something like that, and he fought James Toney at 55, 47, something I can't remember. But the way that they train was a little different than now. And these fighters should be smarter. They don't take time enough to raise their IQ up, um, to get smart inside the ring. And if you and what kills me is like when they say um, he's a little rusty. He's off this tonight or whatever. I don't see how I truly don't understand how you could be off when you took 5, 6, 7 weeks sparring fighters doing the same thing that you're gonna be doing the night of the fight. I don't under even though the fight that you're fighting is gonna be a little bit better, but still it's the same thing. How can your timing be off? How can you just be rusty? That's just sign to me is like they not training and they could be in shape now. Cause I learned this from Mike. When I was in Tyson camp, he would say, they just pretty much paid them to tell them, when they come to him, talk to him, oh, I'm in the best shape on them, knowing damn well they ain't in no shape. But they get in the ring and they look a mess, you know. But
What
it's up
are
to
they
them.
doing in these camps that you, because you've been in some camps, not some, you have been in some of the best camps. And what did you see, if you can get into that? I don't know if you can go too deep into it, but what did you see that they were doing wrong that they should have been doing that they weren't doing?
I mean, thing about it, the science wise, if you look at people like the shadow box with the dumbbells, that's a no no. That don't make sense.
Why
And they
would you,
think
why, but for our audience, why, I know why it's a no-no, but why is that a no-no? Why? Because they've been doing it so long, and they also see Floyd Mayweather doing it, and they saying, oh, well, it works for Floyd Mayweather. Why is it a bad thing to be doing?
it's not working for Floyd. Floyd just doing it. He don't know the science behind he's doing it. And I did this when I was a kid, real young, but I didn't understand it because you could put something in your hand that's heavier and you're hard to move your hands, but then when you drop it out of your hands feel like light. but they don't move no faster than they normally move. It's just your thinking that is moving faster because you got muscle fibers, you got slow, fast, and intermediate twitch. So you
Do you
had
feel
to.
like that's why Floyd power never translated when he moved up, and that's why now even when you see him fight in these expedition fight, that his power is not there, and he fights slower.
If you go back and watch Floyd in his first fight, first pro fight, Floyd was like you listen to the announcer. Oh man, he's so fast. Oh man, he can knock you out. He can hurt you with both hands. He's so strong. Now I didn't say this. They said that. So it's like when he really started getting into the game, you notice now Floyd didn't really hire no strength coach till he was getting ready to fight Pacquiao. He hired that guy, which if you look at the stats, he threw less punches when he hired the guy. Even though he beat him, he threw less punches. If you look at all the punches and count it, I counted all of them. So
Hmm.
anyway, but if you look at that his first fight, he's supposed to be a knockout artist. And as you get up in weight, you still supposed to carry that same. Still supposed to carry that knockout power. And the thing about it, when you're doing that type of stuff, like George Foreman said, you had to be born with it. Yeah, you're right. You had to be born with it, but you had to be born with the right type of muscle fibers. If you look at Otura Gotti was not that fast, but he was a way that he could throw a bunch of punches because his slow twitch fibers and against his fast twitch fiber, he didn't have many fast twitch fibers, so he was in there. He can last a longer time and he can throw a whole lot more punches, but could he really crack you? Now he got to hit you a bunch of time to crack you. Now with Floyd, supposedly he's supposed to crack you out, crack you, but as he got older, they start throwing them, put them dumbbells in his hand and doing all that. That's, to me, that's real nonsense. Unless you look at the signs, you don't know. It's nonsense. Don't make no sense because it don't make you no faster. That's almost like going. A lot of people just train in Big Bear. I trained in Big Bear a few times. Going up there, the elevation, the air get real thin. Now, when you come back down, the air get thicker. So now the blood cells don't have to carry a whole lot of more weight. So it don't need that. I mean, more oxygen, so you don't need a lot of help. And that's the same thing when you drop them weights. After a couple times shadow boxing, your hands will feel the same. It'll go right back because now you don't have that power that you need to hold the weights of the strength. And the more you do it, it can change the structure of your punches. It can slow you down rather than speed you up because now you having something in your hands, and when you're having it in your hands and you punching, it has to be able to hold that up for so many repetition. So it has to slow you down.
So you're
And
saying, so you're saying that when you're doing the dumbbell training and you're doing it for so having it in your hands for so many rounds, is is working on the slow twitch more
right,
than the fast twitch.
right. That's just like if you take Hussein Bolt, he's a sprinter. You don't want to train him like you training a marathon runner. You'll destroy him. And vice versa. The marathon runner can't train like Bolt because he don't have the fibers. He don't have the fast twitch fibers. Floyd is a fast twitch fiber into being. Like if you see most guys that's fast and strong, like you see some guys that they might be small, but they be fast as lightning and they be quick. They're not really fast, they're just quick. They don't have that power. So if they run, they might get out in front of you real quick. But a stronger person with the same speed will catch them and pass them because it's just the fibers. They stroke. It's much stronger. He's quicker. He's quick out the shot, but he'll be able to sting you, but he ain't gonna be able to hurt you. And that's the thing.
Oh,
Like with that's the thing. Like with Floyd, for instance, man. I promise you, man. They ought to praise Floyd that he didn't understand the science behind speed and strength. Because if he did, nobody would be begging to fight him. Nobody, because he couldn't punch that hard. Like Berto say, he don't punch that hard, but if you keep running into it, he can sting you. And people say, yeah, he had bad hands. Yeah, but if he was strong, he was still going. I don't care how bad his hand was. He was still gonna hit you hard.
if you was in Floyd count, what would you have him do?
The dumbbells will be gone. I'm not gonna say what I would have him doing, but the dumbbells will be gone. And you just look at all the guys out there now. You look at all the old fighters. Look at Roberto Duran compared to the 47 they got now. He much stronger. And these guys now should be much strong and smart. And then what you got to realize, a lot of my colleagues that do speed and strength, they don't understand nothing about boxing, but they speed and strength coaches. But I tell them, like, if you look at speed and strength, I mean boxing training, they think is an endurance sport, and everybody like, yeah, it's endurance. You got to. No, it's not. How is it an endurance sport? They don't make
So,
sense.
so you believe running them long 9, 10 miles is unnecessary?
It makes no sense. Floyd can do it because Floyd stays in shape, but it don't get him no better in the ring. And the same thing with sparring 10, 12, 15 rounds. That don't make no sense because you're not gonna fight like that. But it does Floyd good because Floyd is a laid back fighter. He gonna work. When you work, he gonna take off and do what he gotta do. When you start working, he'll work, which is smart. It
Do
benefits
you
him.
do you feel like since that benefited Floyd and people watched it, do you feel like when they tried to repeat it and you see that they didn't have the success, that was the reason behind it?
Yes, because what you got to understand is like boxing is not an endurance sport. A marathon runner, somebody that run 2 or 3 miles, that's endurance. See, when you come in the boxing ring, the bell ring ding. It's 3 minutes. The bell ring. You go out. You throw few 3 or 4 punches. Then he grab you. The referee might break you up. Okay, now you just stop. That's no more endurance. You just stop. You take your breath. You go again. That's intermediate training right there. So you back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That's how you want to work your fighters. You want to put the pressure on them. Even if you want to spar 10 rounds, then you got to put that pressure on them. You got to make them work that 10 rounds. Make them work harder than they would ever work doing in the fight. And if you make that easier, then the fight is going. If you make that extremely hard, the fight will be a piece of cake.
With the training today, I want to get back on the topic of you say the trainers today are teaching these fighters wrong.
No, they
Can I
coaching. I'm not. I'm not gonna say they're teaching them wrong. I'm saying they coaches. They not teachers. They coaches. They just rather coach. You got to take these guys and
can
you
you
got to
explain
you
the
got to teach the
difference?
guy, huh?
Can you explain the elaborate into what the difference?
Yeah, cause it's like a coach is sort of like a cheerleader. A teacher is somebody gonna get in there and say, "Look at him. This how you do the body shot. You set yourself up for the body shot. You bend over here to do this. You do that. Boom, boom, boom. That's how you do the body shot, and you do it again. And you'll teach that. You'll teach that to them till they blue in the face, till they don't want to do it no more. And then at night, when they go to sleep, they'll see it in their sleep. That's when you're teaching them. Because now, when they start to do something, they're gonna do it. Because they know it.
Do you feel like it's harder to I won't say harder, but once you start a child at a young age and you know me and you know this, a lot of trainers don't or coaches don't train you the way you fight amateur. A lot of times not the way they train you when you become professional.
Right.
Do you think as an amateur that a lot of trainers wait too long to train why they're in amateur to transfer over to teaching them the professional side, so when they do get the professional they at least have the fundamentals down a
Yeah.
lot
That
better?
Yeah, that could be the case. And then also, when you training 9 and 10 people at one time, if you have somebody that's focused on really being the best, then you're gonna be good. But if you have somebody that can, like, I'm gonna tell you a story. Like I used to train Evander Holyfield's sons, Elijah and Evan. Elijah was a much better fighter than Evan was, but Elijah didn't want to fight. He wanted to play football. And Elijah one of them jokers. You teach him something, he got it. But you got to keep teaching him, but he still got it. He got it. He learns real quick. What Evan the guy, you teach him, you got to keep going. You got to keep going over and over, and which is good because Elijah gonna mess up and he gonna lose it, and you have to redo it. But the Evan, once he learn, he gonna learn it because he's so slow with his learning. However, Evan is a guy. you can be working with Elijah on the pads, and you can have Evan hitting the heavy bag. Evan be gone somewhere. He be doing something else. But vice versa, if you have Elijah hitting the heavy bag and you in the ring with Evan, Elijah gonna hit that bag like his daddy. Elijah got more drive like his daddy. I hadn't seen Evan since he was a young kid. Like last time I trained him, I think it was 14. But he a
I believe
professional
he's
now.
pro now.
Yeah, he
I
pro now.
believe
Yeah, he pro now. But I hadn't really seen him in a while. So it's like um but like I say, that's the two things, the difference when you have so many fighters that you're training, some people gonna slip through the, not that they can't be good, not that they can't be good. That's the same way when I was in Germany. A lot of guys could be good, but you have to spend that time with them. You have to be able to teach them. You know, you have to be able to really sit down. I like to watch film. I like to break down film. I like to, you got your toe turned wrong. You did this wrong. I believe in, I don't believe in sparring with somebody when they're not ready to spar. I believe you got to teach the fundamentals good first, and then go slowly, slowly. And so when they do get hit, they'll be okay with it. But when you just throw them in there, like some places, they throw them in there, they ruin a lot of kids. And even for when I first met you, that was like the case with you. They were just throwing you in there with the wolves and getting in and trying to beat you up, which was crazy to me. And sometime it'll gunshot you. You don't want to do it. You want to do it, but when you getting hit, you like, I can't respond back because you're so shell shock.
I think a lot of times when it comes to boxing, people just think it's like I don't know what people think, but it's a lot like when you're not there, you could be physically there, but if you're not mentally there, I don't care what that coach yell out,
Yeah,
what
right,
combination he telling you to yell out.
right.
You can see it and he might see it, but it ain't gonna work like that.
Yeah.
It's a game of you got to be mentally there
When I used to
for war.
train, when I used to train Tyson and uh, Damian Wills and also Holyfield, what I would do, I would just keep a log. I would keep a log, especially with Tyson. I keep a log on how he sleep. I keep a log on his attitude. I keep a log on how he eat. I keep a log on when he run, when he weight train, how he spar in the ring, everything. And I ask him questions afterwards, and I just log it down because I know if he gonna perform at a higher level, then he don't need to be performing like this. He don't need to do this. He don't need to do this. He don't need to do this. He don't need to. I go back and I look at the logs. We can't. We got to make sure that he's not doing this or he's listening. He need to be sleeping this amount of hours. He performed this way at this amount of hours, but he performing this way at this amount of hours of sleep. He eat this way, he perform this way. It's just so scientific, man. It's just the little things. And I think a lot of times, like even with uh these fighters now, a lot of times, man, they hire all these people, they got all these peoples around them and stuff. But y'all not no better than the people that had a few peoples around them. And the knowledge wise. And I think a lot of the trainers, no disrespect, y'all don't try to come at me because no disrespect to you guys out there. It's just that um a lot of fighters, coaches, they just coaching and that's good, I guess. I mean, but I don't have no disrespect for none of the coaches. It's like I just think that when you at a sport at this level now, I think that these jokers supposed to be cracking heads. I think if people be getting knocked out, and it shouldn't even be a case, they should be getting knocked out, or should be cracking so hard they be like, man, this jokers can punch. But and when they doing certain things, they think they even with the dumbbells, they want to do 50 to 100 reps. Why in the sense would you? If you go watch the fight when Berto fought Floyd, Berto, they like jab, jab, jab. They want you to jab, jab, jab. But you got to realize when you throw two jabs out, the one jab can be fast. The second jab almost as fast as the second one, the first. But the third jab is going to slow down a little bit because now you got them gloves on and you're raising your arms up, and that blood gonna build up in that shoulder. So all somebody got to do is just touch that glove. That blood will shoot to that shoulder. Now you ain't gonna throw that punch. The next punch. Now the next punch, you're gonna have to set up and you're gonna have to back out. You're gonna have to set up because now you got to get that blood timing up to get out. when Floyd fought Berto was throwing 3 and 4 jabs at a time. Why would you do that with Floyd? After two, you're not gonna do that because Floyd all had to do is step back, touch that hand, and then encounter. Berto was saying, "Well, how does he keep touching me?" Because your blood is building up. You ain't that third and fourth jab is not gonna be that fast. All he got to do is counter you now. He get away from the first two. The third one is not gonna be that fast. I don't know why y'all keep throwing them jabs, trying to go 3 and 4. Y'all got to do 1 and 2 or one, move out. Y'all got to keep changing it. But 3 or 4 in a row, even if he take that, he gonna hit you with a straight right hand down the middle because you ain't gonna be able to do nothing. Because you got to be set to throw that right hand pretty much like Floyd was moving out the way of Berto, and he would not be set for Berto to throw that right hand. He just touch him, bop, bop. He just trying to figure out why does this joker keep touching me. Well, they didn't watch film. Somebody didn't watch film. Somebody didn't educate themselves on um, the whole fight with Floyd because Floyd is special, man. Floyd is not the most talented guy when he throwing shots. You know what I mean? Now, what I do love about it, he throw that right hand. Sometimes when he throw it, he push it right out, straight down the middle. Beautiful. Beautiful right hand, straight down the middle. But all this other stuff, but with his footwork and stuff, and with his IQ in the ring, can't beat him, man. And y'all are so lucky he did not understand about speed and strength. Because again, he didn't hire nobody to do that. If he hired anybody to do that, if he understood anything about that, he would have to beg for fights because the talent wise is through the roof.
Let me
And
ask you this, and I,
mhm,
I don't know how you gonna feel about me asking this, but I don't be giving, I don't be caring. But you have a brand called Free,
yeah,
which is mainly related to not racism.
right.
In your defense, you have been in a lot of camps. Why do you feel like in these camps or whatever camps, Floyd, that they'll hire a different race rather than hire a black man that might or that knows the same science, but you will believe the white man or another race before you believe the black man?
That's it. Because it's think they read books and we don't. And it's crazy because Berto, what's the coach that was coaching Berto? They had this machine. He coached Berto. He coached Amir Khan. Amir, I told everybody he's gonna get knocked out by
Not Emmanuel
Alvarez.
Sword. You're not talking about
No,
Emmanuel Sword.
no. He's a young guy, not young, that young. But anyway, they had this device, this workout machine that they would do, and it would keep tension on you the whole time. And I'm like, y'all not bodybuilders, and now y'all ain't gonna be able to crack nothing, even though now Amir Khan can punch, and he was fast. But I told everybody they gonna get their butt beat because and he I think he had Andre Ward on there doing it too. But Andre Ward is another beast. Andre Ward is not that fast, but he's so smart in the ring. He was not that strong and knock out artist neither. And they had him work on this. Oh man, that's good. We had to do something else on this. It was this machine. And I don't see nobody really talking about this machine now, but they was just beefing up. A white dude had the machine and he was saying, do this and do this. I was like, what? That don't make sense. That don't make science is they talking about getting muscle stronger. That you don't need that. You don't need that type of stuff. But
Is
they
it
did.
almost close to that thing, the machine that almost not the same, but like the same that Evander Holyfield was using? Like it had like the little rubber
Similar.
band thing, and he
Yeah,
was.
but see, Evander. See, if they would have took heed to Evander, he was doing that machine right there. He got rid of it. That's just like having dumbbells in the hand. That's just like if you think about it, it's just like having dumbbells in the hand, that little band on it, and he would be shadow boxing. He got rid of that real fast because he understood that you're not gonna throw uh 500 jabs behind each other, jab jab jab. You're not gonna do that. You shadow boxing stuff. You're not gonna. My whole thing is do the things that you're gonna do inside the ring. If you're gonna do certain exercise, do what you're gonna do inside of the ring. and so everything could be crisp. And then the dumbbells, you have to be careful because you'll alter the way you throw punches, and now you throwing bad shots. So you have to be careful, man. Especially young kids out there. Just because Floyd do something,
Go up again.
that's Floyd. Don't do that. Floyd is a whole nother animal. He's another beast. So don't do that because he's doing it.
Who's a fighter that you would like to recommend to younger fighters that you like other? And I don't mean like I mean like a because I do know like one fighter, Larry Holmes, is one that you always recommend your fighters to watch, especially watching his jab. But is it a
Right.
fighter out there that you think that maybe a younger kid might want to watch other than Floyd? Because I do know that with you as a coach that you like to have your fighters watch people that show the basics rather than do stuff like the shoulder roll or stuff like
Right.
that. Because once you try that stuff in the ring and you don't know the basics, it's gonna set you up for failure. So is it a
Yeah.
fighter that you like for them to watch?
I like some people say about Manny Pacquiao. I love Manny Pacquiao, but it's just like if you watch Manny, y'all go back and watch Manny. They was like, oh, he was so strong and he was knocking out everybody and he was this and he was that. But you got to realize the way he throw his punches. Go back and watch all his punches. He'll drop his hands and he'll load up every time, but he'll drop it low and he'll load up. It's almost like if I tell you to throw a baseball from here, how far is it gonna go? Not that far. But now if I tell you throw go way back here, how far it's gonna go. But Manny, when he throw punches, he always drops his hand and then bring him up. That's why he was so powerful. I don't know and then you gotta look at Manny too. Manny got big old calves, big, nice big legs. And Mike Tyson the same way. Mike Tyson got a big old ass and big old legs, man. And he used to
Pause.
yeah,
Pause.
I'm
Please
gonna go back
pause.
to it. Huh?
Pause
Yeah.
when you say that. But go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, Mike Tyson got some big old legs and big old ass and all that
Pause.
thunder come. Huh? Is that good enough, Paul?
Don't worry about it. We'll talk about it later. Go
Okay.
ahead.
But anyway, I go like the person that I would like for the kids to look at. I love Bud. You know, I love Bud. They lucky Bud ain't doing now. Bud do some of the things right. Bud do some of the things right. That's why he a little stronger than all the other guys.
You know why I
And
think Bud is a bit like why he's good?
what's that?
It's something about people that wrestle that has like that arsenal behind them
Mm-hmm.
that it's a different ball game with them. Like I don't know what it is about wrestling. Like they try to get me to wrestle for football, but that wasn't my thing. But I always notice people that say they have a wrestling background, their fight game is a little different to me.
Yeah, I used to wrestle a little bit with Evander just to get him out of breath and stuff and make him do
Hmm.
stuff. But yeah, Bud, Spence, I like Spence.
Yeah, I like
I like
Earl.
anybody, huh?
I like Earl.
Yeah. What's his name on Davis, Vontae Davis. I love Lobman because he moves a
I
lot
did
and he
too. I
keep
like his
yeah,
angles.
he's got crazy angles. What's the other one? Haney and
I'm not a
Lord.
huge fan of Hagen. I mean, I
I
give him
like
a respect, but I ain't a
Yeah,
huge fan.
Haney gonna get he gonna be all right. And the other
I
little
like
young guy,
Shakur though.
Shakir, yeah, and him, I like him. I like defensive fighters that'll come get you more. I don't like nobody to be taking shots. I like a defense. It's all right to take a shot, but I think I'm a more defensive guy because at the end of the day, when you do put your gloves up, you want to be able to sit down and talk with your grandkids or kids. I think anyway.
Let me ask you this: with the boxing, when it comes to boxing, right? It's pretty much it's a lot of things that people like. It looks like it's basically jab, hook, uppercut, but it's so much that you can do when it comes to the sport of boxing. But I want to ask you this: we all know the states like Philly, New York, Baltimore. They have some great fighters that come out of that them states. What
Hmm.
makes them states different than a state like maybe Florida, Atlanta, the southern states that doesn't get the recognition for being known as boxing?
I think the beginning. It's almost like Motown when it was the singers. Motown is the stuff. No matter where you go, it's about Motown, you know. And that's the same thing with Philly fighters. No matter where you come from, it's about Philly. It's like Philly didn't start it, but Philly had some of the best teachers and the best fighters at once. So all the rest of the world is lagging behind them until you have 10 or 15 jokers come out of Florida like, oh my God, they is incredible. Like Florida fans, they had Roy Jones and what's that, Watava and one other guy. That was pretty much it, you know. But I believe it's like the teachers in them zones, in them areas, and they started out so early.
Do you feel like, because Roy Jones was a good fighter with power too, but that goes back to also when I was talking about we're going with the basics. Do you feel like when like with Roy when he lost when he slowed down, like do you feel like maybe him? I don't know if Roy used the dumbbells. I think I've seen it. Is that an example of what you was talking about? Once the slow, like after a while you get older and them slow, you slow down from the you doing all the dumbbells and stuff, and you don't have the basics down. Do you believe that's what dethroned Roy in his career later on?
I know what I believe dethroned Roy was that um, he didn't learn the basics because Roy, you can say what you want, Roy didn't have to learn the basics. He was so skilled. I mean, he was doing stuff nobody else could do. He was just so skilled, and he didn't learn the basic. I even told you when he slow down, he gonna start getting cracked because he don't have a defense. And then when he started getting cracked, his defense had flaws in it. That's why he got knocked out so much. No disrespect to Roy, but he just didn't have a defense. You know, he just didn't have a defense. I see him training people. You know, every fighter don't make a good coach, a good trainer, whatever. Because one thing I see him trying to teach the kids how to do the same thing he did.
I
Roy
think he
ain't none
trained
of
on
them.
the Charlo brothers or something.
Yeah, Roy, none of them. He was doing some hook where he was ran Ray down. I'm like, what are you gonna do that in the ring at? I don't see how you're gonna do that in the ring, man. Raising his toe, raising his foot up off the ground and then punch somebody. I'm like, come on, Roy, come on now. That don't make sense. And that see, and I'm like, man, come on now. You don't do it. You don't need all that. Make the boy put him in there and let him get strong. Let show him how to get strong. See, my whole thing is like when I was in camp, in many camps, my whole thing is depends on where you are when you go back to camp. You don't have to always start at basics. I don't never want to start at basic. I want to make sure that the boxer is in some kind of camp shape. So then when we go to camp, we can work on certain things. We can spend more time learning stuff. We can spend more time breaking stuff down. We can spend more time that we need to get inside this ring and destroy somebody. Not that you're gonna have to work all the way up to the end to get your weight down 2 days before the fight. You had to watch this, or you had to do all these things 2 days before. That don't make sense to me. What I believe in going to camp and looking at everything you do, because I was in Tyson camp in um Bolo Damian Wills camp, and that's when I was just learning and stuff, and I was like, okay, I want to see what we do when we go back to camp. And it was always the same thing. We always start at square one. I don't understand that because I think that when you go back, you should be a little higher in the education level in the ring. So okay, you spend more time then on not really getting in shape because you know you got to do things to get in shape, but that's gonna give you that W. That's what I think. And I don't think, I think they work so hard that they don't really and really you got boxers, they do all kinds of like Lovomenchenko, right? He got this regimen, they got this things that you do with the ball and this and that. But he didn't been beat before. He didn't been beat a couple times. And the guys that he didn't been beat by, they don't do all the stuff that he did, that he does. So I'm just like, a lot of stuff, man, you can keep a lot of stuff basic, like the old fighter was doing. Basic, and you learn how to fight. Learn your craft in the ring. Spend a lot of time inside that joker. But you spend it on the outside getting strong and getting fast and doing what you need to do. So when you get in the ring. So a lot of things I think they just since it's getting old and science, I think they just doing everything. And I know they got to do things to sometimes you relax and don't let it be a box. A lot of let it be about boxing. I get that, but you still got to understand the game of boxing. You really still got to understand the game of boxing.
So you feel like they spend more time trying to cut weight in camp than really focus on the fundamentals?
Some, I didn't been in camp yet. They spend a lot of time on trying to cut weight, and instead of trying to educate themselves on the craft. And then sometimes you have fighters that, like I had a fighter, Wills. It's like he was a good fighter. I think he was a great fighter, but he didn't spend a lot of time on taking this craft serious. Even with the Tyson camp, the guys, the sparring partners make so much money, man. They don't take this craft serious. They don't take it serious. That's why they don't never amount to being superstars. And they in the right position to be superstars.
Do you feel like the boxing is in a bad like state right now, or do you feel like with like some of the upcoming fights that we could have, do you feel like it could come back to what it was?
Yeah, people start to fight each other. People's not. Then you got to understand. I don't sort of blame them, man, because it's about that money. And that's about that money. But if they was controlling their own destiny, making the money they sell, then it would be totally different. They don't control nothing. They like, no disrespect, like slave owners, controlling everything. They got to fight this, they got to do this, they got to do that. And not saying that they slaves, but if you got a chance to make $5, $10 million, where you gonna make it at out here? Let's get it, baby. Let's get it. So it's
I
like,
was
but I wish that they was able to control their own stuff. Are able to set their own fights up. Didn't have to have a big promoter because them promoters are making a killing. White
I was
guys
just
making a killing, huh?
it's crazy you it's crazy you brought all that up because I was before you came on I was just talking to my homie about the Grammys about Jay-Z, saying that about being accepted. It's like we want to be accepted by the white people so bad. It's like we even when we have our own, like I was talking about, we had the BT Awards. We don't take it serious. We treat it like it ain't nothing. We come anyway, dressed anyway, and then when we go to the Grammys, we want to portray this image. It's like what I mean by that is like we don't look out for each other and try to give back to each other. We look for the white man to give us something, to give us the money, or we wait. Like I don't understand why though.
I don't believe that. I don't believe it's about they say that, but I don't believe it's about we want to be accepted by the white man. I truly don't believe that. I just think we want to be accepted. Say for instance, if you like when I was younger, man, we would
Mm-hmm.
go to the prom. The prom was about, and after prom you would go to Red Lobster. That was the stuff where I grew up from. But when I moved to Georgia, and I was telling this lady about Red Lobster. She's like, "Oh, that's a ghetto area. We don't do that." And they told me the name of these fish places. I was like, "Really?" She said, "Oh yeah, you need to go there." So now, if I go to Red Lobster, I'm gonna dress different than I go to the big places. So it's just like if you go to the award show you was talking about, if you go to Grammys, then the prestige is so prestige, then you're gonna dress a certain way. But when you go to the other spot, the other awards, you dress any way you want to dress because they not tripping about the dressing. So it's not about, I don't believe, I don't believe it's about we want to be accepted by the white man. They always keep saying that. That don't make no sense to me. And I just think that people just want to be accepted on a higher level. Whether it's white or black, I just think it's about people being accepted. And I
But
just think about,
look
I
at
just think, I
but look at
still,
this
and I
though.
I
Go ahead.
still
No,
think,
go
check this out. And I still think if you get a Rolls Royce, right,
ahead.
and you put a certain kind of gas, a certain type of gas in it, you're gonna drive a certain kind of way, you're gonna wash it a certain kind of way, you're gonna have certain people, you're not gonna eat any stuff like that. If you get
Hmm.
a little Pinto or a Honda Accord, a Civics or whatever, then you're gonna drive it a certain way. You're gonna take it a certain way. You're gonna wash it a certain way. You're not going. That's not equal. They're not equal. Even though they cars, even though they cars, they are not equal. You're gonna treat them a little different. Not that, and you want to feel better when you drive. And depends on who you are. You gonna feel better when you driving the roads than you are when you riding a Civic. That's just
Okay, let me
life.
ask you this. I'm gonna ask you this real quick. Who is the ones that, and see, when I say this, I want you to get what I'm saying. When we do stuff, it's like we need, I don't, it's like we need the validation. Like we want to get in these rooms so bad when we could create our own, when we have enough resource, we have enough money to open up the doors. Because if not, if we don't open up these doors, we still gotta go to them.
Who is
And they
them?
control the white people have the money, coach. Like that's
And
just honest truth.
no,
In this state, in this country.
yeah, and the black people have the money too. We don't want to.
But
We
we
don't
don't
want to do
use it.
nothing. Right? We don't want to do nothing for each other. So what kills me is that why the world is about black and white, and it's not. I don't believe that. I mean, you could believe it if you want, but and then again, it depends on where you're at. Because if you grew up a certain way, then you're gonna think it's about black and white. I get that. But if you grow up a certain way, you're gonna think it's about black on black, and that's how it should be. But no, it should be about people. People keep this black stuff and this white stuff. That's why we so messed up. I
And
just
I don't
don't.
want
I
you to
didn't grow up
take
that
it
way.
that
I didn't
way.
grow up that way, huh? I
I don't
didn't
want
grow
you to
up that
take it
way.
that way. What I'm saying is this. Okay.
I didn't grow up
Like,
that way.
I'm gonna kick it to you like this. Look. So it's like this. We as black people will take the Grammys more serious than we take our own. And it has nothing to do. That's why I'm not talking about white people. I'm talking about black people and how we act. This has nothing to do with white people. I'm saying how we act towards them. It's like if we gonna go to the Grammys like that, why can't we go to our own like that and treat it the same
How
way?
no, how long had the Grammys been out?
Why does that matter?
It has to matter. That's just
Why?
like I was. It has to matter because that's just like I was telling you when you asked me about boxing. You asked me about why Philly and stuff like that because they set the record. They set the record. So now when you go to Grammys, it's already set out. That's just like if your mom take you to the store and she said, "Don't you bring in here, don't you bring your ass in here touching nothing." I mean, not don't you touch nothing. But she might take you over to your grandma's house, you can touch stuff. Or take you to another stuff, you can she might not let you touch nothing. But what I'm saying is it's all the precedence has already been stated. So you act a certain way. You can act if you go to the principal office based on to the secretary office in school, you gonna act different. You gonna act different. Now you in the secretary office, you gonna act a little different, even though you gonna have on the same clothes, but then you go to the principal office, you gonna straighten up. It's a whole different ball game. And no disrespect to none of the blacks or whatever, or none of the whites, whatever. I'm just saying that everything is not equal.
If I
So
can't be myself, coach, then something's wrong.
no,
And
I'm
that
not saying. No, I'm not saying that. That's just like if you go to church, right? If you sitting up in there cursing in church, you're not gonna do that. Why you not gonna curse in church? But you being yourself now, and you might be sitting beside your homie, and y'all might be talking about something, and curse word might slip out. But hey, man, what you doing? We in church.
it's
Okay,
different
now,
times. Though. Like I can't say that no more
right?
because you got people in church now doing songs like that. They doing the swag and surf. So you
I,
gotta like it's a different time. I
I,
don't know.
I get that. I get that. But what I'm saying is that still goes back. They had already set the precedence for that show. Now, if you want to set the precedence for your show, then you set it. Then I'm not gonna allow nobody to come in here like that. And you know what happened? They will not show up, or they'll change the way they dress. That's all. That's
But
all.
that's fine. That's what I'm saying. Don't go to them. Don't go to the Grammys asking for something, or you want to go and you already know what the rules are, or you know how they are.
Right.
That's my
It's the
point.
rules. It's just the
But if
rules.
you
It's just the
already
rules.
know it and you say, okay, everything that they're asking for at the Grammys, we can go create with our own, right?
What is we? I mean, what is we? I
As a
mean, what?
culture. See, it's different. I understand because your brand is different when it comes to this, your togetherness. That's not what I'm going with this. I'm saying with this is as a people, as as just people. We
Okay.
not gonna all see eye to eye. We not gonna all
Right.
see it fair to fair. We not gonna, but you can't. I'm not finna go in McDonald's asking for no big. I mean, for no Whopper.
Right. It makes sense.
You get what I'm
Makes
saying?
sense.
I'm not.
Right. Okay. Now let me ask you a question. You know how Atlanta is, right?
Yes, sir.
Just take for instance, if I go to little baby neighborhood looking for little baby to do, I got it's bigger than black and white um brand. If I go to him in his neighborhood, don't know nothing about the neighborhood, would you let me go to that neighborhood?
But that's
Would
what
you
I'm
want me to
saying.
go to? No, I'm just asking. It's a black
No, you
neighborhood, right?
right. But that's what I'm saying. You know
What
why
what
you wouldn't? Why I wouldn't? Because I know what goes on in that neighborhood.
what goes on in there? Why would I be able to go to my people, my black people?
Because they might not accept that brand the way they might accept something else that's not isn't might. Let's just keep
E-
it 100. That might
Even
not
if
be. It don't come off as ignorance, or it don't come off as cool, or it don't come off as something that they feel
e-
like is rich, famous, or whatever. Like
okay,
that's
okay. Let's say if I don't even bring the brand in there, what if I just want to go in the neighborhood? Can I go in the neighborhood?
you can. What I'm saying, you're right. You
I'm asking.
can, but no. You can go in there. You can go in there. But you have to understand when you go in here, you can't go in here and feel like, oh no, why this not like this? This ain't this. Why they can't accept this? Like why we can't do
Right.
this? You gotta
I'm not
understand this is what comes.
right, but I'm saying I'm not going in there to sell nothing. I'm just going in the neighborhood. I'm just going through the neighborhood.
What I'm saying to you, this right, this go.
Wait a minute.
If I
I'm going
know,
through the neighborhood. I'm going through the
uh
neighborhood. Can I go in the neighborhood?
yeah,
And nothing is gonna happen to me.
I'm not saying that.
that's what,
That
that's
is
what I'm
not nothing
saying.
I'm about to
That,
say. Cause
that's
I
what I'm
don't even go in that neighborhood. And I feel wherever I go, I don't care. But I'm not going in. I don't go nowhere where niggas is at.
But
No
see, they
more.
they black. But see, they black people.
No, let me get
That's
something straight. And I get this while everybody on it because I'm gonna
okay.
post this. It's a difference between black, Mexican, white, and there's niggas. Let me explain niggas to you.
Okay.
You can be white, black, Mexican, Asian, whatever race you want to be, and still act like a nigga, in my opinion. I don't care what your race is. If you act like a nigga, that's what you act like.
You know what? You hit it on the head. Then it ain't about race. Then the way you saying it, you coming across as blacks as a certain area, but that's perfect because you have Asians that's messed up, you have Indians messed up, Puerto Ricans, Mexicans, blacks, whites, we all messed up.
And
We all got people. We can go. You got some white people. You can't go in their neighborhood if you're white. Bad areas. You can go in some Chinese way neighborhoods. Bad areas. You can't go in there cause you Chinese. You can't go in there cause you black. You got some Puerto Ricans it's the same way. So all I'm saying is like you have certain areas. You have certain areas that people gonna do certain things. They either gonna be black or white. I mean, you can push the
let me
narrative.
say
You
this
can
real quick.
push the narrative. You can push the narrative is like we this, we that, we that. That's
I'm gonna give
we
it to
what
you
it
more
we get
clear then. What if Eminem or Taylor Swift, you see how they can come to our like they come to the beat, we could come to like they could come to the BET Awards and never feel like we don't accept them. Why can't it be the same way at the Grammys? Or like why do we have to go there and feel that way? Why can't you already know how you've been 100 million times? That's just like if Eminem come to the BET Award talking about, man, I wish y'all accept us more. You know where you at?
right. You remember a long time ago I told you we had a fight and we was fighting at a country club and we was getting ready to fight and they had all the fighters come out and the ones that gonna fight against each other they stood beside each other and the white guys that had money they was outside the ring they were just sitting there and they was bidding like slavery. I I was so messed up about that, man. I told the dude afterwards, I said, man, don't you ever ask me to come to nothing like that. That don't make sense at this time of the year. I mean, this time they got them jokers up on the auctioning block, and they saying who gonna beat who, and they bidding on it. They didn't, and then they had all this food out there. They didn't feed the kids or nothing.
And when I want to make it, and I don't want to, like I said, I might have explained it wrong, but when I say this, and I like, I'm not. I want to see my people do better. To me, as far as black people, we are behind, and what I mean by that is, I get tired of seeing us go to these other venues and stuff and act like we have to bet. When really, if we work together, we could be all at the same table. So now it's not a race thing. We all at the same table. So now we can make deals rather than us having feel like we have to beg for one. You get what I'm saying? That's all I mean.
Okay, and then another step further, white people are behind too. Indians are behind too.
In what field?
Puerto Ricans are behind too.
In what field?
In all fields. Every Indian is not great. Every Puerto Rican is not
Okay,
great.
I
Every
get
white
you.
is not.
I get what you. I get
Let me
you.
say something. Let me say something. I'm a foster parent. I've been foster for about 14, 15 years now, right? And my wife best friend had a kids, and she was fostering two, two little white kids now. And she said they on the paper they are called savages. You know what a savage is?
Yeah.
Okay. They're not black. They're not Spanish. They're not Puerto Rican. They white kids. Little white kids want to get on the table. They want to throw the food on the table. They want to eat it off the table.
Yeah.
They say they at this time and day, that was like 4 years ago. They are savages, little white kids. So you got some black kids that are savages. I mean, I done been around. I've seen a lot of different kids, man. And so a lot of the kids that's in defects or whatever, white, black, they can't read, Spanish, they can't read, they can't write. And these are kids of all colors, not just blacks, they of all color. They can't read, they can't write, they can't do nothing. And
And see,
all they
that's what I
doing, they
think.
set them up, they
Yeah,
set
I
them up,
feel you on that.
they set them up, they set these kids up for failure. They can't make no money off these kids, being in defects or whatever. But when they get 18, they ship the some gonna happen, they're gonna end up in the penitentiary. Most of them gonna get killed. Most of them gonna be in the penitentiary, and they're gonna make money off of them. That's the sad reality
Because a
out
lot
of
of
it.
them
The sad reality.
majority of them case workers, man, when you dealing with defects, and a lot of people don't know, man, they don't. Them case workers don't care about them kids, like for
Yeah,
real, for real.
some of them don't, and some of the kids don't care because some of the kids be so slick. I sat at a home in Edentown now. These kids, whew, is rough. Black and white and Mexican. Not just blacks. And no, none of them know how to read that good or write that good. So when people are telling me we got to stick together with black, what is to me when I'm dead and gone? What is it gonna matter if we stuck together as black or keep the black race? That don't what do that mean? Keeping the black race black? I don't get that. I believe that we have
Lord,
one
don't let
creator.
Dr. Umar hear this shit.
I don't care nothing about what Dr. Umar got to say because I have my own. Really, I respect what he's saying, but to me, I didn't grow up like that. He might didn't grow up like that, so I'm not on the black side. I'm not on the white side. I'm just on the people side. That's all. That's all I'm concerned about. Because just like you said a minute ago, like if Dr. Umar take his ass in there, where little baby them live at, they're gonna tear his ass up. If he go anywhere that he don't supposed to be in a black neighborhood, they could care less.
Or
They
any of
can
that,
get
because
dragged.
you can go. I'm not taking my ass down. I'm not taking my ass down there to that deep south, like in deep,
Why?
deep. What? I'm straight.
Why?
I'm straight. I
So
barely
I'm
go
just
out
saying
now. That I definitely ain't
that,
going
that
on.
but see, that's what I'm saying. Like
But I
we
won't even
all
go to Duval. Like it's not
that
that. I
what
won't
I'm
even go to
saying is like
Duval.
you got some blacks pushing anti-black, or I mean not pro-black. You got some white pushing pro-white. I don't care nothing about all that because I don't have to deal with all y'all. on that level. All I want to do is deal with people that want to be able to change and help other people. That's all. That's all I want to do. If you don't want to be about that, if you just want to be about black, but if you want to help, I'm cool with that too. If you just want to be about white, you just want to help white, I'm cool with that too. Just
Man,
help
I respect that.
somebody. At the end of the day, regardless of what color they are, just help somebody. That's all. That's all I'm with. Just help somebody. Cause we all need it, man. We all need to be helped. We all need help. We all want to be loved. We all want to be saw. Just do that for somebody. That's all I'm saying,
A
Jay.
lot of them kids, man, just dealing with trauma that they don't even really know how to deal with. They get
Oh yeah.
past it. Let me like it's still adults that it's kid. It's crazy that you got adults that act just like that still to this
Yeah.
day
Cause they
because they
hadn't
can't
learned that.
deal with that trauma.
Yeah, and then they'll have kids, and they can't deal with their kids because they're dealing with themselves, and they'll put them in defects. But it's not their fault because they didn't never get no help, so they don't know how to deal with that. They don't know
I
how to
feel
deal
like
with it.
after a while though, coach, we have to stop saying it's not their fault. If you are at an age where you can get help, you just choose not to
I agree with
because
that. I agree with that because a lot of people do that, and
they'll
they
blame their
hold on to
parents
that.
for helping.
Yeah, they'll play that. They'll play that instead of just saying, okay, when are you gonna grow up? When are you gonna grow up? You have to grow up.
I had to.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like when you met
everybody
me,
had to grow up.
you know that.
Yeah, everybody had to grow up. When you live in this life, man, you have to grow up. That's what it's about, growth. Just growing up. And you got a lot of white people don't like blacks. You got a lot of blacks don't like whites. Even when I was growing up, shoot, my not really grandparents, but people's around me, they didn't like whites. And I knew a lot of whites didn't like blacks. But I was just so fortunate that I could play sports. They was cool with me. So I'm just like, I
You
get
just
it.
wanted the peace. You know what I mean?
That's all it's about for me. I'm not pro black. I'm pro people. So
All
I want
right, then,
everybody to get it.
coach. So I gotta go get my youngest son. Before I let you go, though, I do want you to take the time to give out your social media, give out your brand, give out anything or say anything you will want to before we wrap up today.
Okay. Free. Fighting racism equals equality. Freeapparelstore.com. Freeapparelstore.com. And my website is freeedu.us.com.
All right, then, man. I'm gonna get back at you. Gotta let me know another time we can get back in. It
All
was
right,
a
that's what
great,
it is,
man.
man.
I
That's what it is. I
appreciate
appreciate it, man. I appreciate you. You keep it free.
you. Love you, coach.
Love you too, man. Ciao, ciao.
All right, man.